Hey y'all, I'm Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife from scrappywife.com, and today I have kind of a different project for you. I am working on a tag book, and this tag book is going to be all about inspiration and gratitude during this season of life. I know a lot of us do gratitude journals and things like that in the month of November, but with everything that's going on and with all of the changes, I can't think of a better thing to focus on than gratitude right now. So that is what I am going to do. So the basis of my tag book is going to be this set from Vicki Boutin. It's a tag journal set. I'll make sure to link it below. It comes with a bunch of different pieces, all pre-punched with different holes in them so you can attach them with a tag ring. And then I have some different pieces. I have this that came as part of the card catalog that I have in my scrapbook room, a vintage bingo card. I have these people from Tim Holtz, some different little mini envelopes right here, some random ephemera pieces that I've been trying to use up, the Again and Again collection from Pink Paisley, and my tag die cut set from scrapbook.com, which I am in love with. This is the metal die set that I have used more than any other set ever. So I thought I would put you all on fast forward and just kind of work at my desk and kind of prep a few of these journaling tags, and we'll see how the project turns out. I'll make sure to link everything down below. Otherwise, let's go. The first thing I am going to do is actually make a tag out of the packaging of the Vicki Boutin tag piece set. So I just loved the cluster of pictures there at the bottom, and I thought, well, this will make a perfect addition to my tag ring since I'm trying to use any and all supplies in my room. So bringing that over, I used the Jane Davenport Deep Sea die cutter because I think it's beautiful in mermaid theme and love it. It works great. So I just pulled it over onto my desk. This tag die set I have been wanting from scrapbook.com for the longest time. I picked it up, I think, in January and have used it. It's a really great set. I'm going to back up this tag with some of the rainbow paper from the Again and Again collection. I decide I can just cut out the tag to match up, but for some reason I don't get the hole quite in the right place, so the tags don't match exactly. So in the future, when I make and back the tags, I end up just using a hole punch because I just didn't get it placed right with the washi tape. So I'll cut out the matching tag and then adhere the two sides together. And then I want this to be a pocket tag. So this is kind of like a junk journal, but in tag form, I guess. I just want there to be lots of interactive tags, lots of little fun elements. I'm using, for the most part, my adhesive tape glider because it has a really strong adhesive. Some of the smaller pieces I end up having to use my Tombow tape runner just because it's a little bit easier to maneuver. But you can see I'm going to pick out another piece of paper over here from the 6x8 paper pad, and this is why I like picking up paper pads like this. I don't use them all of the time, but every now and again I'm able to use them and really make a cohesive project because all of the papers are from the same paper pad, so they relate to each other and they're kind of meant to go with each other. So here I have my pocket, and I'm going to end up actually using my We Are Memory Keepers bookbinding tool, and I'm going to use it because I don't have a sewing machine at this time. My birthday is coming up, so I actually asked for a sewing machine for my birthday, so we'll see if that happens. But I think if you had a sewing machine, you might just run this through your sewing machine on three sides to create a pocket, and I wanted a sewed look, but I wasn't going to just do it myself with a regular needle. So I'm using my bookbinding tool to line everything up, to punch the holes in the right place so that they are all even, and then I'll end up using some twine around the edges to put this pocket together. All right, you can see all the holes are punched, and then I will put this on super fast forward because I'm just going to go around the edges kind of looped around so that you can see plenty of the string, which is in a bright pink. It adds a fun texture to the tag, and then it does effectively create this pocket where I can stick in some more goodies or some journaling, something like that, just adding some more interest to this very first tag in my set. I actually had a few photos laying around from a previous project, so I grabbed this sweet one of my puppy dog Penny and thought I would include her on the first tag. And I'm going to also pick this ephemera piece that says, "You're my favorite, pick me up," and just adhering that on. I plan to go back on some of these tags and add more photos and add some journaling, but because I just had a few photos laying around, I thought I would go ahead and piece them together just to give me a jumping off point for the rest of the tag book. I also incorporated a lot of these Tim Holtz phrases and words throughout my tag book just as jumping off points. So on this one, I put "start each day with a grateful heart," which is something I'm trying to focus on during this time. It can be really hard. Some days are really hard. Some days go well. It kind of feels like a roller coaster a bit, but I just want to create this book as kind of a reminder to really focus on the gratitude. I love this little pocket card that came as part of the tag kit, and I cut out a little tag just to fit right in there. It's easy to pull out then and add some journaling on the back. Here's a vintage bingo card that I picked up last summer at a thrift shop. I have a whole set of them, not a complete bingo set, but just enough to craft with. And I have these vintage people from Tim Holtz, and I picked these up for a kit from By the Well for God that had a steampunk feel to it, lots of vintage pieces, and I loved using them for that, but it came in a huge pack and I don't get to use them very often, so I thought this might be a fun project to use some of these paper pieces on. So I pieced together this little family. I see a husband and wife and a little girl, and then I put two boys to kind of represent my family, putting them, this is where I had to use that Tombow because they were so small and I wanted to piece them together with one of their arms around the other, so it was a little bit more delicate than the tape glider would allow for. Back to my strong tape glider, adding plenty of adhesive here on the back where I'm going to put some scrap paper from the Again and Again collection. And then I pull some different ephemera pieces. Creating a tag book is a great way to use up different supplies in your room. If you are like me, you have odds and ends from a lot of different projects. It's fun to create a cohesive look, but it doesn't have to be all matchy. So I definitely have pieces from a bunch of different collections, and that's okay because I'm getting to use pieces that I love and that inspire me, including this 3D frame. And I think it might be Amy Tangerine, but I'm actually not sure, with the little pom-poms. Maybe Maggie Holmes. I'll have to look for it. And I'm going to, again, I had this picture that I printed with my HP sprocket of my 3 kids and our sweet dog. So I'm going to include them on the back of this particular bingo card, which is nice and strong and substantial, so it really could hold up to this bigger picture frame. I put that down, and then we'll adhere the picture frame on top because, again, the picture frame is a little bit more heavy duty. I thought it had an adhesive on the back, but it actually doesn't. So I end up using, again, the ATG, the glider, because it does have a nice strong adhesive to it and holds super well. Once that is in place, I'll start embellishing even more. And this is a little mini envelope, and this is from the Vicky Bouton, I think it's called Going Places. I'll make sure to link it below. And they're the sweetest little envelopes that have little pieces of notebook paper in them that you can pull out and open up, and you can write a note, which I think is just perfect for this type of project. So I can write just a quick little note, and then of course some phrase stickers. And I include a couple different ones, one from the snarky set and one from the regular phrases. And the snarky one says, "If you met my family, you would understand." And then it says, "What seems ordinary is often the extraordinary." And I thought those two put together were just perfect for encompassing this really unique time and all of the time we are getting to spend with our families. This is actually a vintage piece of paper that came inside the card catalog that I have in my craft room. I picked up that card catalog in Luckett's, Virginia, which is a place that is full of all of the secondhand vintage thrift shops, and I love it. And inside, this card catalog had been used in an office, and what looked like it had like automobile parts in it, not parts, but like tags and things that had organized inventory. And so this is kind of like an inventory tag, and I've been saving it, and I'm excited to use it in this particular project. It has this kind of funky fold in it that I wanted to cover up, so I ended up folding it again to create my own pocket, and then I back it with the pretty scrapbook paper just to add some interest, and then I'll pull out some washi tape that'll reinforce the edges just so that I can make sure nothing will fall out of the pocket. I do end up deciding to go ahead and embellish this just really lightly. There was another tag that came as part of the ephemera pack that I'm working with. It was just some of the extra ephemera I had lying around, and it said Friday Night Fun, which I thought it would be a great tag to document something we do on a Friday. I don't know about you guys, during this time we celebrate on Fridays by ordering a pizza, which is our treat for the week, and doing a family movie night. So I thought it'd be fun to document that. And then I'm just looking through the other pieces I have. I think I'm going to use this home one, and I cut it down and I think it's perfect, but at the last second I end up finding a different piece that says life is good. So I go to all this trouble of matting the home piece, but I end up using it on a different tag, and I'm trying really hard to use the scraps from the paper that I've already cut out other tags and things from. So I have the home piece. I even go as far as to put adhesive on it, and right as I'm about to put it down, I find this piece that perfectly coordinates with the background. So moving that home piece aside and adding adhesive, and I will add this piece that says life is good, and it has a beautiful butterfly, and like I said, the colors coordinate really well with the scrapbook paper that I picked for this vintage piece. I'll add the hole so it can go on my ring and just add it on. What I really love about this Vicki Boutin tag journal set is that it's such a great jumping off point. You don't have to add anything else to it. You can use all the tags in this set and be ready to go. Or if you are wanting to mix and match some other supplies, most of the pieces in here are so neutral. Of course, this one has a lot of colors, but most of them are so neutral that you can go any way you want. You can go vintage, you can go bright and upbeat for the spring and summer. It's totally up to you, and I really like that all of the variations are already in there with different sizes of tags and different cutouts that you can use. It's a lot of fun to work with, and that was one of the reasons I picked this up from scrapbook.com, just because it took out the guesswork from kind of piecing together one of these tag booklets, and I was able to be inspired and kind of add on from there. So for this colorful piece, I know I want to again create a pocket tag, and that's what I start off with, but this one kind of evolves as we go. So I actually cut out this particular pocket that's going to be this diagonal and get it all set to go, but as I'm embellishing, I end up deciding that that's not the direction I go. So I have this triangle piece all cut out, but I want to use some of the different ephemera pieces, and I have this piece of a doily from who knows when, who knows what project this is from, and I'm looking at all of my pieces. I actually end up using that guy on a later tag, but he won't make the final cut for this one. But you can see this is just playing, moving things around. I decide, well, let me go ahead and adhere the doily down because I know I want that, because I think it's a fun texture. I'll trim it off, and then I end up using it on the reverse side as well, just to add a little bit more interest down there. I'll go ahead and adhere that down, trimming it off, adding a little bit. The glider gun is really sticky, so it was not the best choice for adhering this down. And I actually go back, so I use the tape adhesive on the more solid part of the doily, and then I'm going to go back with some liquid adhesive just to really secure down that that little part, the little flowery edges, just because they're more fragile, and I know if I'm flipping through this tag book, I don't want them to continue to get caught on things and to rip off. So just adding a little bit of liquid adhesive to secure that down, and then I will embellish even more from there. So instead of adding the pocket and the vintage people, I actually end up grabbing some different ephemera. These florals really pick up the colors nicely, and I'm going to include them on the front and back. And I'm sorry, I don't know what ephemera pack this one is from. Just one that I had picked up at Tuesday Morning a long time ago and just had a few pieces left. I feel like it might be Lizzie. I'm not sure. Dear Lizzie, maybe. So I'm going to add on those just for a bright pop of color. And again, I already had my home piece from my previous tag ready to go, so I stuck that down right there. And then on the front of this particular one, I will add a different floral piece, and then a word card that says, let me find that one. That one says marvelous. So there's lots of journaling space on the front of that card, or room to add a photo even on the back, so I can embellish it even more. But this gives me a great jumping off point for when I want to sit down and add my gratitude or my inspirational quote, whatever I want to add to that journal page. This card ended up being super simple. This is a postcard tag, and I put some scrapbook paper on the back that's a dark wood tone. And again, I have these sweet little envelopes that I'm going to add in, add one of my little vintage people here. And I think this one is going to be writing a little note to each of my 3 kiddos. And so I just add this vintage person and those envelopes. And again, the paper is already stuck inside those envelopes, so super easy to pull out and just add a quick note or a quick love note, a quick picture, something like that. So excited to get a chance to use these sweet envelopes. And then I add just a little inspiration there along the front, and it says, coffee keeps me going until it's acceptable to drink wine. Here I am putting the last bit of tags. I'll flip through all of them here in a minute. This was a fun project to do. Like I said, great for using up scraps. Search your craft room, pull out a binder ring, and just go to town. I highly recommend this tag journaling set from Vicki Boutin. I will link it down below. It's a great jumping off point, and then you can just get as creative as you want from there. So my very first one says making memories. And here I am flipping through. There's a Polaroid picture one, and I did see that guy did make it on to a pocket card. These are sweet ones that open up, so I can't wait to add to those. There's the postcard one, another camera picture that kind of pops open and you can add to it. This one was really easy, just adding vintage girls to the back. I have big ideas for that heart tag, so I left it alone. This one you saw me make. Again, another smaller one that I just added some scrapbook paper to add a little bit more color. Here is my vintage bill one, another tag with an insert with my sweet puppy, a really kind of plain one back there, but added some journaling and a craft bag on the back, and then of course the bingo card. Thank you for joining me for this kind of random craft video, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I have links down below to all the supplies I use, as well as a link to join my email newsletter. I hope you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.